I'm making a video, like a little intro video, or I was trying to today for my like when I do the Astrology Today ones, and I can't find good music that makes me like want to dance, but also speaks to the the woo that we're about to get into. So we looked out.
I love the intro. I love I get zoned out. I'm like,
yeah, some cool music.
All right, daydreaming, and then we're on.
Yeah. Hey everyone. Happy almost the spring equinox. I almost said the summer solstice. We're still a little ways out for that one. And happy almost to the new moon. What is that, like next week though? I'm like way off. I'm like
the 29th.
Well, we're like in Babylonian New Year territory. So depending on who you talk to, depending on the region and the period and the whatnot, generally speaking, the spring equinox is the Babylonian New Year, and thus likely the Mesopotamian New Year as far back as you go. But it also, they tried to line things up with the new moon because that was the beginning of their month or their year and month. Yes. So like the closest new moon to the equinox is technically the new year. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Hopefully. So Salima, everyone, hello. My name is Abbey Quinn. This is my wonderful co-host, Niki Tenn. Should we be calling you? Should we be branding you by your last name? How do you want to do that?
No, I was thinking about changing my name, actually.
What would you change it to?
I don't know. I was thinking
okay.
Something fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Banana?
Yeah, Chiquita Banana. I used to be that girl. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did. You told me the other day.
I used to be famous, like way back in a past life. I was that lady who had the awesome hat on the Chiquita Banana.
With all the fruit, yeah.
Yeah, with all the fruit, and I danced. And
it was a good time.
Yeah, it was. It was probably the only good life I can recall. Past life.
Yeah. Well, for now, I guess Niki Tenn is my co-host.
We'll stick with Niki, I guess.
All right, so Niki, we're with Niki. I am I'm not an ancient astrologer. I am an astrologer who practices ancient astrology, primarily Sumerian astrology, which you can learn all about at my website, SumerianAstrology.com, and you can find all of my links and information in the video description, so definitely check that out. Niki, you can contact her at RebelutionAstrology@gmail.com, as you can see in her name over here. She's still, we have a website pending, I assume. But in the meantime, definitely reach out to her, contact her, and do all of those things. And today, Niki, what would you like to talk about? I know you had said while we were getting ready to jump on the call that it's been a rough eclipse so far, eclipse season so far.
Yeah. I can't repeat what I said.
Sure. Right. But definitely not going the direction that you would want it to. Is it at least cleansing? Are you purging some things?
Yes. Okay. Yes, I am. I'm purging a lot of things. And this, it's been feeling like a really slow burn for me. I'm like, oh, wow, I get to find out more shit all the time. And it's just.
Uh-oh, you froze. Is that, wait. Okay, yes, she definitely froze. I don't know if she's disappearing. Well, I'll entertain you in the meantime.
Still here?
Oh, no, there you are. I hear you now. You were
frozen. I know. I was wondering what happened.
You definitely froze.
Yeah, I forgot what I was talking about. Anyway, I'm suffering, okay? And I'm trying to find ways to laugh and get through it. And it's something that just I'm dealing with and I'm facing all the time. So it's like healing just doesn't end one day. So just personal bullshit and it's got to work its way out and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, this eclipse for me has just been a very awesome slow burn. But I'm working through it and there's a lot of positive that's come out of it. So I'm trying not to wallow in my own shit and be like, poor me. It's hard.
Right.
Yeah, it's hard, but sometimes you need a good couple of hours of poor me time. And
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I love to cry about it. But,
I've been having a great eclipse since the eclipse so far. It was great. Had a great full moon leading up to the full moon, and I've been
yeah,
on fire ever since then.
yeah,
So
you have
yes,
actually.
I definitely have.
So I love to see that. I love that.
Yeah. Well, do you think you could give us your professional assessment here of what we have coming up this week? Maybe a little bit more on what we have looking forward for the equinox and or anything like that, or would you be? Are you too enraged to tackle
I
that?
can talk a little bit. I can
Okay,
talk
okay,
a little bit. I mean, I am full of hate, but
okay. That's
but
fair. Hey, sometimes
yeah,
sometimes you gotta be.
Christ. Well, it's funny because when I get mad, I guess I'm just funny, but it's whatever. It's
Why?
whatever. We're not quite even in like the oh my god, the final like square either of this cycle. We're just kind of moving into that.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
so we're still in that waning phase where everything's kind of closing up and we're kind of having to deal with the rest of our shit here. When the moon starts moving into Scorpio and Sagittarius, I think that's when we're going to start feeling that tension of actually like what it is that we're looking at letting go. A lot of it, with the moon is all about your self-image. It's all about you. It's your ego. It's how you see yourself, how comfortable you are with yourself. So, with these eclipses, we tend to just experience a lot of emotion, a lot of stuff around, who we are, who we believe we are, our self-esteem. I mean, all of that stuff is all wrapped up in whatever it is that's going on in our lives. Like for you, you've got a lot going on. You probably feel really good. You're probably like, yeah, I'm on top of my game. I got my shit going,
Yes.
Yeah, hell yeah. And I love that. I love that. I know. I love that your Mars works really good in Gemini too. I'm like,
Yeah.
there's got to be a way I can get mine to do that too.
It'll even itself out. Given enough time, it'll definitely even itself out.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, the moon in a conjunction here within Ceres is probably not helping your cause. But I mean, it is a healing placement. So like it's going in, the moon's going in and it's lancing the wounds,
Yeah, the moon in Scorpio is always, no matter what the cycle is, has always been a really deep, like emotional time, no matter what. Something either hits me,
Do you have Jupiter in?
I have Jupiter there, so
Okay.
it can get heavy sometimes, and that's why I'm like,
it's expansive.
I trust Jupiter, like that's why I get like that, because I'm like, what the fuck are we talking about, Jupiter?
You can trust Jupiter.
Yeah, I know he's actually been really good to me, so
it can definitely be intense energy.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Hi, mermaid. Yes. So how about
sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's usually like the deepest, time, the psychological, mind maze time. Like let's pick it all apart and see where it went wrong, what went right. It's usually a really good time to get deep and really like take an honest look at your own emotions. And you're right, it's like lancing the wound there. It really is. It's an intense little spot in the sky. Very. Yeah. So that's where we're gonna see our I think our quarter moon. Yeah, our last quarter moon. And it's just that stress to just kind of let go of whatever began at the beginning, whatever you had going on at the beginning of this cycle when it started at the last new moon, and for everyone I've talked to, it seems as if they've had something going on for a long time anyway. It's not like it's just started or kicked off some big major event. It was just all kind of stuff that's just been domino affecting. So it's kind of getting to that point where if these are things you've had to deal with for a really long time, it's kind of your sign to, let's let's get it dealt with and put it away. You know, because we have this new moon eclipse coming up, and that one's, I don't know, that's going to be pretty intense, I think, just because of the players involved. But
where's that one?
We'll talk about that next week. That's on the 29th. Yeah, we have that solar.
Oh yeah, there. Oh yeah. Okay.
You know,
yeah.
I've been having a lot of people come to me and they're just like, wow, you know, nothing really feels real anymore. Like reality doesn't feel real. Nothing that's happening right now just feels like, what the fuck are we doing? What are we living in? And I'm like, I've been more in touch with reality than I've ever been. So I'm like, I'm not feeling that. I'm like, actually,
yeah, I don't feel that either.
Not at all. Not in the least. So, but I get it. You know, it hits everybody's chart. It hits their energies a lot differently. And you can see it when they come talking to you about it. You know, we're energy people. I mean, astrologers, we read energy, we read patterns, we talk about it all the time with our clients, our friends. So everybody's going to experience these things a lot differently, you know. I like Saturn moving into Pisces a lot, actually. I really feel
I do too.
I don't know. I just feel like I've been able to get my shit together a little bit better. God, what else? I mean, it's just been deep diving right into the occult, looking at all the different occult practices, all the different astrology practices there are. I've been deep diving into a lot of different topics and research and just cool stuff. And I hope that just keeps going.
How's that? When did Mercury go retrograde? Do you remember?
Mercury went retrograde last week, and man, I'm telling you,
it's been hitting you pretty hard. You're not happy with that one?
Like crazy. It's just ridiculous. I'm like, there's no fucking way this retrograde stuff is real every time. And then yeah, it happens where you go to work and your machines don't work. People's cards aren't going through and they don't know why. And there's all these different, just little trivial, annoying things that are going on that, you know, just test your patience, really. Nothing that's big or maybe like satellites aren't falling out of the sky or anything.
Right. Again, see, this goes back to like what you just said. I think it really depends on the person, the individual. Now, we're all very much programmed to hear bad things about Mercury retrograde.
Yeah, that's why I fight it. I'm like, no, this isn't. But
if I really do think if you have something that the planet is trying to, it's like a do-over. It's like, so just Niki, since you're here and we're having this conversation, it's like, okay, Niki, you blew it. Mercury was transiting. You had all this opportunity to like handle whatever you needed to handle. We're going to go back now. And like, now we're going to correct whatever we didn't fix before. I think there's some of that, not specifically you, Niki. Like I'm just using you as an example. Let's see.
Yeah.
Right now. Everything right now is really, well, this is for the 29th. Let's back up a little bit. Where are we at? Mercury, where are you, buddy? Right about here. So right on the 8th, that seems to be 8th-ish when we're stationary. Then we're going to go direct. So it's like hovering back. It's like, hey, whoever screwed up their Mercury, you know, time frame over here, you get a do-over, and then you're going to get it back through here. So I do think that some of the negative associations are directly related to like what I would consider a karmic situation, but I don't mean that in inherently good or bad karma. I just mean probably some past life or repeated patterns. They don't even have to be past life. It's just these echoes of things that we kind of need to handle. But everything's swinging by here, and I know we've talked about this a lot over the last few weeks, and I kind of just hit this the other day when I did the live stream by myself. But everything just swimming in here right at the same time, and it's really going to peak. When is this? This is on. It's like the new moon. It's the eclipse. This is I know everybody talked about like that alignment of all the 7 planets in the sky, which I guess it's not really an alignment. You can just see them all visibly above the horizon, which is really cool. Definitely cool. But this we can't really see as well because obviously the sun's over here, but we have so much going on over here. We have Neptune, which you can't see here. There's where's Neptune? Where are you, buddy? Okay, so perfect conjunction on the 29th. This is our eclipse day, if I'm not mistaken, give or take, okay, like within hours. So back up here. So yeah, at least in Egypt, it's going to be midday Egypt. So I don't know if that's early morning for you guys over there on the East Coast, but we got Mercury perfectly conjunct Neptune in here with Saturn, in here with Venus, and they're all wrapped up right at the same time we have the eclipse. I mean, that's extremely intense. And isn't Vesta and Ceres is over here? Hold on, let's see Ceres too.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think
Yes, Ceres is pretty close in the sky still. Okay, we're still gonna feel some of that. I don't think this is insignificant. I think now I'm not saying something happens on this day, although there is a correlation between the new moon, full moon, possibly the quarter moons, I can't remember, but for sure new and full moons with earthquakes. So, you know, that can affect the electromagnetic energy of the earth. We can feel these things in our bodies too. But I'm not saying like, you know, like you said, all the satellites fall out of the sky or anything major, but it is a major trigger point for the world at large. And there will be some sort of big shift that comes from it. And I just think it's very interesting that at the same time this is happening, we have Saturn moving into Pisces. Like it's one of those things where it's easy to see this stuff in retrospect. When you look back, you're like, oh, what happened on 9/11 or whatever, you know, like what are the things? But this is one of those times where you can see something occurring in the future and it should be pretty obvious. It'd be interesting to see like next week what type of crazy YouTube thumbnails and stuff come up for everybody, because this is just super, super intense.
Well, you know, the political landscape is really heating up, and it's just been like a lot of psychological warfare going on. Like, oh, you can do this and we're going to do this. You'd be afraid that we're going to do this. And it's just a constant back and forth, and the, you know, propaganda machine just keeps cranking it all out. Are you really getting the real stories? Are you really getting the real deal? I mean, are you just getting biased opinions about everything? I mean, you don't really know. You don't really know.
Right.
I try not to watch the news, but I'm like, well, maybe I should figure out what's going on. Seeing so many people come to me and talk to me about it, and they have just, you know, they're set in their ways and who they support and what they support. And I've always been a humanitarian, and that means that I don't support that. I don't support authority over, you know, the authoritarian government structure. I mean, you just don't trust authority. Okay. Everything might appear to be good and appear to be like this change is awesome, but so did some of the other changes we had that took away our rights, that have us being spied on constantly. Big tech has overstepped its boundaries. You know, so we could be seeing some changes when it comes to, you know, big tech, all of that stuff.
Oh, definitely. There's definitely big changes coming.
It's not going away, you know. It's not like it's going to change and it's going to go away. It's you know, I don't know. It's almost like it's just a big invasion of privacy, you know, and you're not going to have any more privacy.
Well, that makes that's actually really interesting, because Saturn's placement in Aquarius is definitely a technological positioning. And as it moves into Pisces, it becomes much more humanitarian in its nature, more related to spirituality, to, you know, culture and the vibration of humanity. It's happening at the same time. Neptune has just gone in, you know, it's been in here for a little while, but they're both moving in. Neptune in particular, I think, is a technological planet to a large degree. It's much more, you know, the arts and the sciences and those type of things. Its placement in Pisces is going to bridge that gap anyways, but this is a much longer transition. And I read this as, yes, technology is going to continue to push. You have the big tech companies. There's always going to be that seat of control, you know, that's going to try to get the tightest grasp that it possibly can. But I see this as being pushback by the people. Now, there won't be pushback if they don't have to, but there is, you know, that's just what's happening.
I thought that too, as I was picturing the nodes like moving. We go from, you know, where we're leaving behind that that, you know, those selfish individual, you know, wants and needs. And Leo, we have to look at, you know, Aquarius as the North Node's moving, where we take a more humanitarian stand, a more like a real cold, hard, you know, look at what's really happening and what's really going on. So I picture as those, you know, moon's nodes move, and those are shifting, and we do have some time before they actually shift into those different signs. But I think that'll be a lot of the trigger for that, what you're talking about. Like, that's when people will emotionally, like, logically just catch on. Like, this is what's going on. This is how we're going to react. I think it's those nodes moving into those signs are going to be very reactive. You know, and you might see a lot more drama on the landscape than normal. And you know, it appears fiery. It appears like, you know, there's going to be a lot of pissed off people. That's what it's starting to look like, you know. But I like everything in Pisces because it's coming from the heart. You know, this is the Pisces, you know, constellation has a lot of love, a lot of, you know, divinity, and a lot of understanding, just coursing through it. There's just so much compassion and empathy and sensitivity there. And I think if all of these planets weren't there, and they were in some other sign, like maybe Aries or Taurus, you know, we might not, you know, or even, you know, maybe even Sagittarius, we might not even have as much of the, you know, peace talks that we've had. A lot of the people that I've met, that I've been counseling, helping, giving natal chart readings to, you know, they're also going through something. And, you know, you can tell that they're using this empathy, this sympathy, this sensitivity to look at their issues and look at their problems in a way like, you know, what's the right thing to do, you know, not in a petty, you know, revenge, you know, like bullshit kind of way where it becomes about them. It's very selfless problem solving. You know, what's good for everybody is what I've been seeing, and you know, kind of what I've been experiencing too. So I like the energy of Pisces and everything being in there.
Me too.
But, you know, with those moon's nodes moving, you know, and I know it's not soon, but all of that stuff, and you know, Mars moving, and everything's going to start moving. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit.
Niki, am I seeing this correctly? Hold on. Is this the North Node right now that is also in?
Yeah, the North Node is with this.
So hold on. So
the North Node is with this new moon, this eclipse. It's right in between Neptune and.
At the same time, we have everything else going on here too. We also have the North Node, is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah.
That's why I'm saying there's definitely something happening. There's definitely like the dominoes are falling. You can see it. It's not. So everyone's gonna be like, oh, there's an event happening, and that's true. There's gonna probably be something happening. But it's, you know, it's not up to me to say, you know, what it is. I don't know. Exactly. I mean, I could guess. I
think it's a lot of things. I don't think it's not a one thing, especially with all these different planets in here.
Yeah, I mean, we have this like collective responsibility. You know, you get Saturn involved, you get Neptune that adds that spirituality. Neptune's energy is really, I think, dominant with all of these planets. Really adding a lot of positivity, though. You know, that's not I know that Neptune can be a malefic, and you know, can cause a lot of damage too, but I feel like it's really added a spiritual twist to a lot of this, a real, almost like fated, you know, type energy, especially with the square to the galactic center. We have all of this squaring that energy, which is, you know, a steady psychic stream of, you know, magic just flowing through the stars. So, I mean, it's it's getting hot in here.
Do you see the self-destructive side of Neptune at all? Have you noticed that?
I mean, I've experienced it, myself. I have Neptune on my south node. I'm familiar with Neptune, and I'm familiar with Pisces, and there are a lot of self-destructive tendencies. There are a lot of shadow parts to Neptune and Pisces, and a lot of escapism is really what they have a lot in common. A lot of people want to just escape reality right now, and they're using a lot of different modes and a lot of different ways to do it. And one way that I have been constantly coming into contact with is this idea that we're trapped in an evil matrix, held hostage by evil archons. And I swear to God, the next person that comes in and talks to me about, and just being anti-Semitic and being just absolutely a garbage person, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it from me. Like, I can't deal with that. I have never been more rooted in reality in my life, and I love that woo-woo shit. Okay, I just soak in it. I love it. I'm like, ooh, what do you got? Like, what are you thinking it is? Like, what are we trapped in? Is it a trap? Like, I've had so many weird woo-woo experiences my whole life. I've been over-examining. So when I get people that are talking to me about it, I'm just so fucking excited. And now I just keep getting people that are like, yeah, are you ready to ascend? Are you ready to go? I'm like, go where? What the fuck are you talking about? Right. What are you reading? What are you guys on? Like, and nobody can ever really explain it to me.
That's why, because they're just getting little snippets from TikTok and YouTube.
Yeah.
And they don't have any, firm rationale for what they're
not at all. Not at all. That, or they eat way too much DMT. I had a guy tell me that you can meet your creator. You can go through all 10 levels of reality and meet your creator. You just have to eat DMT, Nikki. Why aren't you doing that? I'm like, you're right.
Do they just sell that? Is that just for sale?
No, I don't think so. I don't even know what the hell it is. I've been out of the party scene for a really long time.
DMT is the so-called spirit molecule, and your brain produces it naturally. You produce some, I believe, when you're born, and also when you die. And there's a book called The Spirit Molecule based on that name, and let me see if I can grab the title and the author. It is awesome. I highly recommend everyone read it. So hold on, let me find it real quick. I know I got it in here.
Spirit. Write it down.
Spirit.
Yeah,
Okay, it's called DMT, the Spirit Molecule by Rick Strassman. So basically what happened was in the 70s, I think it was, they did these, well, first of all, at the turn of the century, they were all, they were experimenting with all these different psychedelic compounds and stuff. But then then we had the anti-war hippie movement, and then everybody was like, oh, drugs are bad. And then we had, that. So they had to stop all of their research. Well, in the 70s, this doctor, I believe it was Strassman, who I just said, who wrote the book, and I think he narrates it. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, if you read the audiobook, which is what I do. But anyways, they did a controlled study, and it was in, like a laboratory setting and whatnot, but they had all these different people come in. They were properly screened and everything, and they gave them different amounts of DMT. This was intravenous. And so basically they were looking at the overlap in the different experiences. A lot of people didn't remember anything. But the ones that did were all very clear with certain points. The first and foremost thing was, wherever they went, it was not a hallucination. It was not like ayahuasca or, peyote or something like that. They say it's realer than real. Like wherever you're at, it's not, when they come back here, and you see the same thing when they talk about near-death experiences. The people who die, they're like, no, it was like more real, and I feel like I was more in a dream state when I came back. You see the same thing. And some of these people, have weird experiences, like they see jesters, like the machine elves or whatever. Some people literally go to other dimensions, and apparently the government has also been doing these experiments with DMT to try to, and I'm going like at least partial Alex Jones here, so you have to forgive me. There is evidence
No,
of this,
it's okay.
and I could probably dig out the studies and everything in the white papers, but they're trying to figure out how to get people to leave their bodies, in like their consciousness to leave the body, to go to these other dimensions, so they can get like this, what is essentially alien technology. I know that sounds so crazy, but anyways,
no, it doesn't
going back to
sound
this
crazy. Actually, what do you think they're doing with CERN? They're opening
well,
up
exactly. So, right. So the DMT, what they're finding and what they have basically concluded from this study was that it's basically a chemical gateway that literally takes your consciousness somewhere else, and you are physically in this place. There's the only difference is they can't control it. Now, some people, there's people who have tried like ayahuasca. They've done ibogaine, like straight DMT. There's different plant compounds and stuff that will kind of do different things to you. I have heard ibogaine in particular is the one that like people take it and they come back a totally different person. They have these deep, profound experiences with God. Some people with DMT say that too, but other people who've taken DMT, now this was the intravenous. I don't know like what DMT you can buy off the internet or like your local drug dealer. I'm not really sure. You can smoke it and stuff, like how pure that is. They may be having those experiences too, but some people, I think, it completely dissolves the ego, and it's very quick and very intense. I'm speaking as a third party here. I've never actually done it myself. So I don't, know for sure. But so these people coming in and telling you to eat more DMT, Niki, I'm not sure that that's the best idea.
No.
I think if anything, if you're going to do something like that, you should do like I mean, go to Costa Rica, like they've got it down to a science. I wouldn't want to do ayahuasca just because there's a lot of vomiting.
Yeah, no, I have totally already done all of enough tripping. I've done enough of that. I don't care to meet my creator. I don't care to go to.
Well, that's the other thing. You can meet your creator in deep meditation. You don't have to necessarily do those things.
I don't need that stuff to get there. I just, it would be interesting and maybe a little fun. But I don't know. I'm not really into it. I mean, my friends and I once decided to eat way too many just mushrooms. Okay.
Yeah.
And
there is a limit for sure.
There is a limit, and definitely overpassed the limit. And the veil got so thin, I could hear them freaking out over me and what was going on. And I could hear them. I could hear almost like hospital bells going off and like weird shit. And I could hear people talking about what the fuck was happening. And they're like, "Oh, is she gonna like see us?" And I thought, I was like, is this a schizophrenic episode? Like, I was like, I think I should just go home, guys. And I did. I went home, had a normal conversation with everybody there, and just went and sat in my room. And then it just went away. All of a sudden, I heard a voice in my head, and everything just stopped, and it went away.
It's definitely tuning it in.
And I was like, what the fuck was that? And I called my friends who, like, they were all still tripping so hard, dying, crying. They're like, help, and I'm like,
I'm dead. Everybody's dead.
I don't know what you guys, I don't know what the hell. They're like, we almost got abducted by an alien. And I was like, oh, I bet you they were looking for me. Yeah. That was all I could come up with. My brain was just mush. So it wasn't a good feeling after. I was like, good thing I was just a teenager. That's when you can beat yourself up and beat your brain up and whatnot. Yeah. But no, not anymore. Like, I'm getting too old to play games like that.
Well, definitely, you don't need don't do that.
I don't want to do DMT or ayahuasca. I don't want to go on retreats with other people. And
I don't want to
do all that.
It does help a lot of people, though.
It helps other people. Yeah, like good. Go do it if it helps you and you feel called to it. Like, don't let my opinion about it. And it's just a mood. It's not really an opinion. Like, right. I don't know. I've just been really moody and hateful and just
Said eclipse.
Like,
Gotcha, Nikki.
Yeah, I know. So maybe like next week I'd be like, yeah, totally do ayahuasca. Yeah, totally eat mushrooms.
I'm sure if you needed to, there would be an intuitive draw to do it. I don't think you would have to really work too hard about it. Mermaids Wear Hats said, yeah, they are flooding the zone for sure. That was something we said we're talking about earlier. I'm not 100% sure. Ija Levy says, I think some of that is Gnostic Christian theories, archons, etc. Yeah, who knows where it really comes from? I mean, there's some what is that, like Book of Enoch and
which I've read the Book of Enoch. It's okay.
Yeah, that guy for sure. First of all, that's a rabbit hole. We don't need to have that conversation. He's not a real guy. I mean, he probably was a real guy, but it's definitely written in a particular style that is not that old. Okay, it's not like it's like some ancient text. It was written around the same time, probably, as like the other some of the other Jewish texts and stuff, which, you know, there is evidence that like some of those stories don't really go that far back, but I mean, it's a different conversation. There's scholarly evidence. Okay. I'm not just like making this up. I didn't just watch a TikTok and it's like, oh, it's all bullshit. No, there's like legitimate evidence that, that the gospels themselves and everything that's kind of like based on them, the Christian gospels, are really not that old. Like much later than we actually think they were. And that goes to there's the same thing for the original, what we call them, like the Hebrew, you know, the prophets and everything. And we say that now. So what's happening, if you guys care, if anybody out there cares. So AI is now able to analyze, and I'm not talking about they gave it to ChatGPT and we're like, hey, when were the gospels written? They have like certain programs and like, you know, like there's different programs now that can analyze these things. What they're finding is they're able to go through such a detailed amount of information and then indicate, like they find the stylistic differences, and they can actually tell like which portions of a particular gospel were probably written by one person and then another person. We all have tells. If you know anything about like writing, like we all have something. So there's stuff what they're doing now is they're finding overlap between some of the Greek myths and epic tales, and they're like, wait a second, this is like almost exactly following the same system. There's like a lot of literary tells in there. So yeah, so when it comes to the Book of Enoch, there's not a guy probably named Enoch who really wrote this stuff. You know, it's still a tale and a story, and there's probably important information in there, but like, why are we taking all this stuff literally? You know, when I read the Mesopotamian myths about Inanna going into the underworld, do I really think that a goddess named Inanna went into the underworld and took off all the jewelry and took off, you know, all of her divine powers and then got eventually hung up on a hook as a dry husk? No, it's definitely a story, and there's different meanings that are embedded in there. So I don't understand why so many people hear these stories of whether it's Christ or, you know, Enoch or Moses or whoever, and to think that this has to be literally verbatim what happened, and that some guy literally, like the same guy, just wrote all of these books of the Bibles. That doesn't make any sense. And you wouldn't do that with any other culture, but for some reason, I guess you have to in these ones. I'm not really sure. So yes, I'm derailing. Mermaids Wear Hats says, what else did we see in here? Yeah, it's Gnosticism and goes way back, not a new idea at all. Ija Levy says, I have a question. How can the planetary alignments be interpreted in regards of planting crops? I've heard theories, but haven't heard from true sidereal ancient perspective. Well, it depends. So if you're going to, like, seasonally in different parts of the world, you're generally going to plant your crops depending on what stars are rising at a certain time. That's where we get the deacons in Egypt. You know, they based everything on which stars, you know, they planted based on which stars are rising. We see that in most ancient cultures too. It's not really so much that the energy of the constellation is going to help you with those crops. It's more that it's just that's an ancient calendar. So they didn't have the normal calendrical systems that we have, the normal calendrical systems. So they would have just waited until certain stars started to appear. Now, over thousands of years, they would have had to make adjustments because of the precession of the equinoxes. But for the most part, at least, I I don't have any, I can't cite you any records in particular that would say that they would have planted during certain moon phases. But for the most part, a lot of ancient cultures recognized that the waxing moon was a time for sowing, while the, you know, the waning moon was a time for harvesting. So they probably would have factored that in too. But as far as exactly like, you know, how to use the constellations, now this doesn't speak to the modern system of agriculture, which is like the almanacs are all based on tropical for some reason, right, Nikki? Am I imagining that? Like, aren't they all tropical?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
I know. Make it make sense.
It doesn't.
Make it make sense. I've been okay. We were talking with one of the ladies on our meditation call, and she was talking about a sidereal almanac, and I have not found it. I don't know if she was looking for one or if she found one, or we were talking about it, and it wasn't.
Sounds like somebody needs to make one.
Yeah, it does actually. I might have time.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
throw it together.
Yeah. An entire almanac, yeah.
No problem. No problem. But it's needed though, because
definitely
it's so weird, isn't it? And nobody else thinks it's weird that we're studying the sky, but then the whole rule is no, you have to do the chart by hand, and it has to be 30 degrees off. And because that's the way everybody did it, that's the way we're going to do it.
No, makes no sense.
Nobody else thinks that that's fucked up. You know, like I think it's pretty screwed up. And the fact that the cognitive dissonance where we're like, no, we're just going to keep fucking doing it until the world ends, you know, like that's kind of crazy.
It's not, listen, it's not going to happen.
No.
I have seen over the last 10 to 15 years, I have watched the sidereal astrology community grow slowly but surely. They're definitely not the largest presence out there, but it's at least it's getting harder for the tropicalists to pretend, because there's voices like us that are out there, and again, we don't reach a ton of people at this point, and maybe never will, just because it's so niche, but it's something, and it's definitely there's way more than there was like even 10 years ago. There were maybe like outside, so just like generally websites, and back then SEO was pretty good, and you could actually, when you Googled something, you could find it. It wasn't just all ads or YouTube videos. There were maybe like a handful of sites, maybe 3 to 5 decent sidereal websites. Now there's a lot of them. There's still, you know, like it's not perfect, but it's happening. And even so, when people go from classical Western to Vedic, and they see an improvement in
their readings, absolutely,
it makes them question, like, well, what are you guys doing that's so different than what everybody else is doing? In between classical and Vedic, one of the biggest things is they use the sidereal zodiac. So, I mean, even by while Vedic astrologers are gaining more prominence in the West, the word's getting out.
Yeah.
So,
and I think it's actually changing a lot of minds. Like a lot of tropicalists are looking at either Vedic or looking at something else. And you can only test the data for so long and before you notice that it's off. Something is not right. You can't tell somebody their moon is in, you know, Gemini when it's not, when it's clearly in Taurus. I mean, you're describing two different, very emotional, you know, two different emotion types. It just, so to me, it's only a matter of time before people catch on. And I don't know if it's, you know, just the internet and just, you know, stubborn folks or haters or, you know, whatever. I don't know. But the more people I meet, even tropicalists, like I've met people in my, you know, that come to see me and they believe in tropical astrology, and I'll pull out my apps and I'll show them and I'll read them, and they'll be like, "Oh my God, how did you know that?" I actually just met a dude who practices our type of astrology too, and just some random guy came in. I got to talk to him about all the Pisces parade, all of this stuff going on. We talked about the lunar eclipse, and he was just only in town for like that day. I was like, "Oh my God, watch our show." wrote it down for him. I'm like, watch our show.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was cool. It was really cool to like meet somebody else who is a complete stranger who's like, oh, hell yeah, I don't mess with that other stuff. Like, I want the real sky. I want the real like deal, because it reveals a lot of truth. You know, like, do you want to know, or do you want to just be 30 degrees off and pretend? Like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Like,
I don't understand.
I can't pretend to be an Aries sun. I can't pretend. I mean, I got obviously a lot of masculine energy, but you know, maybe you have that confused with divine feminine. You know, like Tiamat wasn't divine feminine energy. Come on, she could scream, she could rip shit apart. That's absolutely part of it. That's part of it. You know? Yep. So yeah. Anyway, God. Ranting.
I'm going to harness some of your rage today, Niki. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you how just yet.
I'm channeling this. Okay, guys, I feel bad saying I'm full of hate. I don't hate anybody. I'm just like dealing with feelings and like.
Is it hormones? Could be hormones.
Yes, it is.
Hormones.
It actually is. It really is. Period. God.
I wonder sometimes if that's where the menstruating women are scary and they have to be what's that one there's this, what is it, the Whitest Kids You Know? I don't think they're around anymore. It was like a group, but they would make songs and stuff, and they made this one video. If you guys can find it, look it up, it's hilarious. But it's called Songs from Olden Times, and he starts singing and he's like, that woman is having her period. That woman is having her period. That woman is having her period. Banish her to the woods. She cannot come in contact with anyone for at least 7 days. Burn all of her garments and pray for the dark spirits to go away. So, basically, this whole idea. Yeah, it's great.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, if you guys look it up, if it's probably still on the internet, it's like early days of YouTube. But anyways, this whole idea of like the woman is bleeding, we need to send her away. I wonder sometimes if that's because of the rage that suddenly appears sometimes, not for everyone, but for many a female. This is definitely an issue. And I wonder if it was like not so much that the menstrual blood is unclean, but really we're just like scared and we don't want to deal with you. So we're going to create this lodge, this tent, this sweat lodge for you to go and like exercise your evil. And then, you know, come back when you don't want to murder us all.
Yeah,
I think that's possible.
I miss. We should live tribally like that. You know, have little tents, wigwams.
I couldn't do it. There's no way
to go there. Yeah, and I would. I'd be like,
how do like the women not murder each other?
The tribe.
No, I couldn't handle that. I could definitely go off into the woods by myself for a week and get a vacation, but I don't know about hanging out with a bunch of other menstruating women. I did that in basic training, and it was amazing.
Oh no, nobody else can be there. Like it has. My tent. Yeah, that's just my tent. Like
right.
That's not meant to share with other people. Yes. They can go find their own fucking tent. Sorry. Yeah. No, when I get like this, I like to channel it into creative stuff and turn this negative into positive and I've been really, really doing a good job at it, channeling into my work and channeling it into cool other things. So it's not all rage. It's not all anger and tears and snot.
Yes. and I think it's also important, and this goes for the menfolk too. Our emotions, we shouldn't be suppressing them. I mean, we feel the things we feel for various reasons, and I think it's important to address those. Now, if you're feeling bummed out all the time, like that's a problem, you know, or if you're just angry all the time, clearly there's other issues going on. But if for the most part you feel okay, and then you're getting these one-off days where you feel like you want to push people in front of oncoming traffic, sometimes like those emotions they're also powerful. I would say they're just as valid. And they're a part of the experience, the divine experience. So like Niki said, you guys, if you're feeling those things, try to do something useful with it. Don't suppress it. Just try to channel it into a more productive
Yeah.
you know.
Well, we're all alchemists. We're all energy workers. We're all working with the energies we're given all the time. So if you don't like the energy you're working with, you need to figure out why. You need to examine it. It's not like you can just stuff it down and just keep going. You need to weave it into your day. You need to weave it into your life. It's there. You can't ignore it. You know, I can't pretend to be somebody I'm not. I don't. We were talking about it. I just have a hard time lying about anything. I just can't. How am I? Do you really want to know? Or
exactly.
I'll answer you like truthfully, and that's just the way I am. So, yeah, I don't know. People, I think are catching on. You know, they don't want to sit and stuff it down anymore. They don't. They want to be heard. They want to feel validated, and I think they're going to start going, gravitating toward their tribe and finding the people that do support them, that do want them around. You know, that's a big thing. A lot of people with these changes that you're seeing in the sky. I mean, it's reflecting on their lives too. I mean, I know, a person in my life right now is not very close to me, but is completely, changed his life when it comes to alcohol and drugs and things like that. Like alcohol definitely gripped this person, and he's gotten into so much trouble. He's being forced to straighten up, and he's so much happier. You can just see, like, he's just so much happier, and the people around him are too. So there's a lot of positivity that's coming out of all of these changes. People are recognizing where they've gone wrong and what they need to do. And, I think event-wise, you could definitely have something personal go on, and, depending on what house, this is landing in for you, this eclipse. And we'll probably be talking about it again next week too.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about it for a while, I think. I don't know. It's Saturn Neptune is it's a wicked combo. You got this, this energy that's just, traditional, and it's just it likes its long-term ambitions, and it's got the future in mind. And then you got Neptune that's just, that energy just spreads around, and it just keeps going, and it adds that confusion to it. I can see that now. I'm like, all right, it can be a little confusing, especially when I hear people coming to me and talking to me about some of the craziest stuff. And I'm crazy. But I've never been Archon crazy.
That's just how it goes. If you're not crazy, you're probably not too much fun to hang out with, to be honest, right?
Yeah, I guess. I do love crazy. I mean, I'm down. I'm
crazy can be good.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to stop talking to these folks about it too. Like, I'm curious. Well, when are the Archons coming? Is it the Archons that are coming, or is it Jesus that's coming? I mean,
well, let's find out, Niki. Let's find out.
Oh my God,
no. Yes. So
I'm gonna bite my tongue today. I'm really being tested.
We talk about this all the time. If you guys are new here, you're not on our meditation calls, you have no idea what poor Niki has gone through since this interview with Ola Walney.
I want to say that I actually had so much fun. I left that interview just flying high, thinking,
I loved it.
I watched it. So cool. Like,
I rewatched it 7 times personally myself. So 7 of those views are from me. I was cracking up. I loved it. It was great. I'd love to have her back on. There's no way she'll show up though at this point. There's no way that will ever happen.
Well, I'm not going to be nice to her when she comes back on. That's a guarantee. You're going to get a different Niki.
Actually. Well, yeah. Well, now we know a little bit more of what's going on. So here's what's going on. I did not prep for our show today. I mean, I did, but I didn't have time to go through and grab little tiny clips. So I figured, since you're having a great rage day, we would go through and see if we can maybe, now that we know a little bit more about, what she was talking about, maybe we can get some more insight here into whatever it is that she does. If I click computer mode, what will that do? Let me see here. Hold on. Let me see. So let me unshare my screen real quick. Stop the share. Let me do that. There. That's what I want. That's what I want. Okay, share the screen. So I'll probably have to adjust some of the sound. So you'll have to bear with me here for a second. Don't crash. Don't crash. All right, let's see what we got.
I, by background, engineer from oil and gas, 15 years of excitement, onshore, offshore, a little bit. So kind of coming in with very much a scientific / kind of engineering mind, scientific scrutiny on everything and bridging between the esoteric and spiritual. And I probably imagine that the reason why some people might have been interested in having me over is because I have pretty different approach to astrology, numerology, and all, as I call them, codes of the matrix. It doesn't really matter what it is, codes of the matrix. So
yeah. So Niki, do you want to talk about what we found out is her approach to astrology? We just learned this past weekend, I think. Right, on the meditation.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, her approach is she tells you some stuff, okay? And then she tells you that it's the matrix. It's if this makes you feel good, then it's okay. Something like that. If it makes you feel bad, then it's the matrix trying to control you. Or it's just so asinine and weird. Like she'll read the chart, but then be like it's almost as if she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. But then be like, you know what? If I'm wrong, it's the matrix. Like it's something along those lines.
That's right? Exactly what it sounds like. So I don't know about you, Niki, but when I give a reading, if somebody tells me that doesn't feel right, I have to stop. I have to recheck all of my, make sure I didn't like button mash and put the wrong birth date in, because that should never happen. If you're doing a reading, this goes to anybody out there, if you're practicing astrology, you're learning it, or you're, whatever, wherever you're at, if you tell somebody something and they're like, no, dude, this is not me at all, you have to stop and address what's going on, and you have to figure out why. What we are finding is that Ola's, method is, well, if she's telling you something and it doesn't resonate, that's because it's the matrix. And so we know that this is bad and we should, cast it off. This is the same thing that people do with tropical astrology. When it's not right and you're giving somebody bad info and they're like, that's not me at all, I don't know what you're talking about, they're like, oh, well, it's you just have to
it's just you just don't want to admit it. That's what
it could just be you
get gaslit. Basically it's you, there's something wrong with you and you just don't understand and you're not smart enough to know.
Yes, that's exactly
that's the attitude. And I'm like, okay,
which is really messed up. That's not good. And it's weird that she doesn't bring that up in this conversation. As she's explaining it, she makes it sound like she doesn't even do astrology. So we were all very confused because my clients recommended her because they thought she was a Babylonian astrologer. And that's that was the sense I got too, because she says that she is, she does Babylonian astrology. And I, tried to do some research beforehand, but at least a year ago, she was still doing like regular astrology readings. So I'm not sure what's going on now, but yeah, so let's keep watching and see what happens here.
So different perspective, or should we say deciphering what are we truly dealing with. And yes, I also work with feminine alchemy, which is probably going to be misunderstood unless I actually go slightly into it.
We never got to that.
No.
We never got that part.
And okay.
Yeah.
Which is this is not any kind of esoteric concept. I'm very far from it. There's too much new age everywhere. And
we never defined what is the new age. Yes, I
the entire time she was talking, I could read what you're thinking.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
The bullshit meter was like all the way to the top.
Roof.
Yes.
It's very, very much.
Friar's voice startled me for a second. I was like, whoa, where did that come from? Yes. Okay. I forgot he was on this call.
On the tradition, oral tradition, feminine wisdom, past, whether that's the native people, the indigenous ethnic groups that still had access or still have access to certain knowledge, which is perhaps not so common.
Which is interesting. So she just pointed out the indigenous tribes and their ancient wisdom. In a few minutes, she's going to shit all over their ancient wisdom and say that, well, they're really just worshiping aliens. She basically says that all of the indigenous gods are all just aliens or archons, and they're all just a means of control. Well, at the same time, saying that, like they had this spiritual information that helps you escape the main. It doesn't make any sense, but we'll just keep going.
We all know that the ancient texts and most of the teachings, they are they've been tampered with. They serve a certain narrative.
Which are all the texts that she uses to develop her theory, by the way. She doesn't, as far as I know, she doesn't speak any ancient languages, as far as I'm aware.
No.
So she's using translations from other people to formulate her theories, which is what the Archaics guy, Jason Breshears, does too. All of his ideas are based on whatever goofy translations that he gets. Now, I can tell you from speaking Sumerian, even the early Sumeriological literature differs in the translations than what we have now, because as time goes on, you get more information, you get more tablets translated, and you can start to like backdate and piece together some of the stuff that you have. But before that, if you go off of like early translations, you have some kind of not the best info. So I don't know what translation she used. She never cites any of her sources. There's none listed on her website. I don't know what her expertise is in any of these documents or what she's looked at, but
they serve certain groups, as I call them, what's leftovers of the gods here on Earth. So that's pretty much when I kind of connected the dots on certain things. Then
that sounded like David Icke. That's a reference to like lizard people, or like all the royal families probably still lizard people. That's what I get out of that, but I don't know.
Oh my God. When I first heard that, I was like, for real? I had a coworker who was convinced the royals were lizard people.
They could be. Convinced. I guess it's possible.
It was like, you wouldn't even believe it. And I'm like, well, how would you know? Like, you live here. You know, you have the same internet access I do. Like,
yeah. It could be possible.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, shit, I could be a lizard person. We don't know.
That's right, Niki. You could be.
It could be me too.
Yeah.
You cannot go back once you go down there. You cannot go back. So that became my life, and I left oil and gas somewhere on the way there, and now I am pretty much fully into reconnecting people with themselves, helping them overcome their matrix programming, conditioning, which is precisely what astrology and numerology tells you, how you are programmed and conditioned.
Okay, so that didn't sound like I practice astrology. That sounds like astrology is like your written program. That makes more sense watching this again. Like when we go back and see later what she's talking about. She mentions this when she was talking to you, and she basically made this comment like, well, you should fight what your chart is telling you. And you told her, like, I tried that and it didn't work. And like my life got better after I did what the chart was telling me. So,
man, I wouldn't go back.
Thanks, Ija Levy. He or she, I don't know. Really appreciate the moon sign video made. Thanks, I appreciate that. I'm glad you found it helpful. Yeah. Let's see what we have here.
So that's what I do through both selfmasteryquest.com and through Mystical Arctic Journeys, which is where I take people over here to Norway, where I live, where I am specifically the Arctic, and we go deep into these teachings and bringing people back to themselves.
You know, she doesn't. I know I keep stopping the video. She doesn't have any articles. There's like no written. We don't know really what she believes unless you pay her. That's really the only way you can find out exactly what she does. And
it's a lot, isn't it? It's like $550
for like a reading. Yeah, for like
to
just
her
a
to
basic...
tell you to go take a walk in the woods if it doesn't resonate.
Yeah,
go take a walk and think about it.
Yes.
Take my money and walk. Thanks.
Oh, you know, I recently just learned that it's a number 9 year. Oh my God, is that me? Is that
possibly?
I was so
it's better.
You know, you know what? She's writing shit down about me. I was writing stuff down because I thought we were going to be talking about the sky.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing. Like when I was shuffling all my papers, I'm like, oh, I gotta write this down. I gotta write that down.
And we never got to it because
no.
Yeah.
I'm so upset about that. Okay.
I don't know. It's better now. Continue.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't pay attention to numerology, but I'm always interested in it because I'm always seeing synchronicities. And I'm always like, oh my God, what does 333 mean?
It's the Matrix, Niki.
I know the Matrix is coming after me.
Yes, it's just lying. The Matrix is lying.
I'm a victim. See, that's how people take advantage of you. They spin shit around and they make it sound like, hey, you're a victim. I'm here to help you. That's when somebody says that and when somebody's implying that, you need to run.
Yes.
In the opposite direction.
Absolutely.
If they have to convince you that you're a victim and they're there to save you.
Yes.
Run. Sorry.
Yes.
On my phone, but I recently heard an astrologer say it was a number 9 year. And so it was like a year for endings. Like, do you do that? Do you like look at the year and look at numerology, or like, what's your take?
Well, the whole sort of my whole approach is about exposing astrology, numerology for what it is, which is the matrix code, which is basically, us being predetermined in certain ways. And of course, a lot of astrologers talk about free will, but that's because there is not full understanding of how the matrix works.
Yeah, so we're all dumb. If you think that your chart allows for free will, you're an idiot. It's basically what she just said. She was a little miffed that you didn't know that she didn't do astrology, Niki. Did you?
Oh, I didn't. Because I don't care. Actually, I thought she was there to talk and have fun. And
so yes. So did I.
So, do I look at numerology and astrology? Surprisingly, no, I don't, because the whole point is to escape the code.
Escape it? Okay.
I get it. I still feel that way. Oh, I need to escape. I need to run. Where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna go? Because you're still in this body. You're still here. Shit's still going on.
And she's still charging $500 for astrology readings on her website. So if it's like,
but now you're convinced that life sucks, everything sucks, nothing is going to be ever the same again, and she is your only outlet.
That is right.
Only one who knows how to help you.
You got to go to Norway to get it sorted out. But
that's really scary, actually.
If I thought that astrology was a matrix code, I would either shut down my channel or I would do like a full 180. If I was all of a sudden like astrology is the devil, or like I wouldn't still give the astrology reading and then say, but this comes from Satan, right? Like Satan wrote this out and this is totally like, I wouldn't still make money off of it, right? Does that not seem shady?
I think if you care that much, you definitely would be out there like a real spiritual person, barefoot with no material items, trying to save the world, Mother Teresa kind of shit. Like, I will lose everything to save all of you. And no, this is I need to gain everything and pretend to save everybody in the meantime. It's like a fucked up version of Christianity,
Kind of,
like fucked up church kind of vibe to it. Like, pay me for your salvation, and that's it. So
there's legit cult vibes in there, and the way that her followers came after you in particular, but both of us.
Oh wow, yeah. I've been in an industry full of haters for a long time. Like, you really, come on, like, it's the internet.
Right.
Some of the smartest, brightest people are on here. You're like, yeah, come on.
Right. But okay. I mean, that's not really,
But that's not, to me, that doesn't scream,
enlightened.
That doesn't scream professional. That tells me you're very weak, and you're very.
Well, in her defense, she wasn't doing it.
She wasn't doing it.
It was her followers
who do it. Like, that's kind of gross.
And I'm fine with criticism. I'm happy to criticize somebody else's facts for sure.
Oh, definitely.
But like, none of the people who were spewing all the hate in the comments, none of them could point to any like documents or a specific myths or anything. Nobody had any proof. They only wanted to, do ad hominem attacks and basically be like, Niki talks too much and you guys
what
are
a man.
Energy. Yeah. But that's not a debate. Yeah, that's not a good argument.
Not to fulfill it, not to
Yeah.
sort of not, you know, I don't want to be doing what the gods, who are the gods, and of course these gods are not gods, these are the archons, right? That's the meaning of the word lord in Greek. So we have a controlled environment down here, which is something that they created a very long time ago, and I have absolutely zero interest in fulfilling their plans. I have interest.
See, I wonder if she's using Sitchin's version, she's talking about aliens, but if she's using some sort of spiritual version, which maybe you're gleaning from, you know, like Book of Enoch or something. Okay, but it still comes down to us being in some sort of matrix. That sounds like a, you know, like a nuts and bolts, ones and zeros environment, does it not? So if she means the latter, then it's still Sitchin, even though she doesn't see it that way. So like, and again, I'm not like well versed in Kabbalah, and I don't know a whole lot. I've read the original texts, a lot of them, but I never got into like the deeper philosophy and commentary on everything, the way it developed. But this sounds to me like I hear Sitchin. I hear aliens came down and created, and she kind of alludes to this later. It's really weird. It doesn't make any sense.
And fulfilling mind. So this is what alchemy is about. Feminine alchemy. It is bringing us back to us and our plan, not the plan of the gods. I mean, you got to ask yourself, right? How is it and why is it that you know, year 9 is supposedly endings, and that's the energy, and that's what we all have to now fall under? Well, I have other plans. I'm actually starting a lot of things. I'm not interested in endings. So there's a way to escape that kind of energy. And yeah, I mean, I am aware of certain things out there. I mean, you cannot be, if you work with astrology, numerology, and of course you hear that everywhere. People mention here and there, you know, we are now coming out of the Chinese year of the dragon. Now we're going to be entering the year of the pig. No, not year of the pig, of the opposite. The pig is going to actually have a bad time, allegedly, in there.
It's year of the snake, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
it's year of the snake. So now everybody's getting excited because it's the snake and the 9. So yeah, it's an interesting combination. But that's the whole point. That's, you know, I don't want to be fulfilling someone else's plan. I don't want to be fulfilling.
Yeah, she's definitely projecting a lot of "don't tell me what to do," like astrology. You're not the boss.
Yeah, her feminine alchemy. It just seems like if her followers are following her feminine alchemy practices, they're really mean, actually. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure what kind of feminine alchemy she actually practices. I mean, I don't know. I think I'm a pretty nice person. I think some of the things people said were absolutely just mean.
Yeah, they're definitely
Kind of see it in her now when she's talking that. Nobody can tell me what to do, honey.
yeah,
Guess what? You know?
Hold on one second.
What the gods have orchestrated for me and for others. That's the whole point of my work, to show how we have been caught into this net and how to escape it, not how to fulfill it for them.
Oh my God.
She was at me going, "Oh my God."
Yeah. The long and short of the net, there's a box on the moon and it's a soul trap, and you're gonna get sucked into it when you die and then get forced into reincarnation. That's her whole shtick.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because at the end I'm like, and I'm sure we'll get there, but I was like, well, how do you escape that? You know,
Yeah,
like, you get all the way here, and then what? You have to remember things I said after you die. That was basically what it was. Like,
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was like, so I can't remember 5 minutes ago. Yeah, I'm gonna die and be like, wow,
Right.
I'm not gonna remember what you said.
And it goes in direct, it's like in direct conflict with the vast majority of all spiritual traditions and near-death experiences that like nobody out there is reporting the Matrix. At one point, one of her followers does make a comment about the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and like basically implies that the Duat is a matrix soul harvesting like energy machine. It was really kind of bizarre. I suspect she talks about this somewhere too. This is a part of her deal. But in my thing, like, if you can't, I don't, you know, my beliefs, my spiritual beliefs maybe are a little complicated. My astrological practice maybe requires like a good 5 minutes to explain what's going on and why it's different. But it shouldn't take like 17 hours to figure out what somebody believes or what they're asserting. You should be able to point to something pretty quickly to, you know, be like, okay, yeah, this is why I think that, we live in a matrix and you need feminine alchemy to escape. I don't know what the dudes are supposed to do. Like they do the feminine alchemy to escape too? Is it only feminine alchemy that helps you escape from the matrix? I don't know. I don't know.
I was confused the entire time. I just was like, wow, like you're going to come on an astrology show and be like shit on all over astrology. Like,
yeah. And
helped so many people. Like, oh my God. I was just kind of like, oh, all right.
Yeah. And she knew I practiced astrology. It says so right here, like right there. She also should have figured out. So there's this little thing right here on my face that probably should have given away that I maybe believe in some gods that she's also deriding, which is fine. You're welcome to it. But like, I got to give it to her. She has some hefty cojones because she, you know, she came on here just ready to throw down. So good on her. I do respect that. I'm definitely on board.
I
have so
go
many
ahead.
questions.
Sorry.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I have so many questions. Okay, so how did you come to this idea, belief, perception, or whatever, like, you know, formulate this idea that astrology is a part of the matrix and like it's designed to kind of lock you into something? I'm not big on, I can't vouch for numerology. That's not really my thing. So I kind of think it's mostly based on a fake, just an arbitrary calendrical system. So like I don't really get into that, so I can't speak to it. But as far as astrology goes, like how did you get to that point or that belief?
I mean, it's really no difference whether it's numerology, astrology. All of this is the same. Everything is based on symbols, mathematics. Everything is based. The principles are the same. Whether that's a numerology from your name, whether that's astrology, whether that's any other system, anything that in any way determines something about you and for you is clearly designed in a. So I'm not saying that it is astrology that locks you in. I'm saying that astrology is the language. It is the way to sort of open up and have a look in what way you have been captured by what? Well, by this matrix, by this construct that we have been, that we are in. And so how did I sort of put all that together? Well, a long time ago when I was still sort of looking into different systems and exploring, like I say, both, not just astrology, but going way beyond. And the fact that there is so much information that you can find about yourself or other people without obviously knowing them, right? So clearly there is an element of things being fixed.
So she just admitted that it works. She just said, like, yeah, you can find stuff out about somebody by looking at it. Okay. So if it's true, why is it the matrix? If it's true, that doesn't make sense.
Kind of spin doctored it, really. I mean,
yeah.
But we talking
didn't
about
really answer.
No, she doesn't answer any of the questions, really.
Which one is it? So things did not make sense to me from the beginning, and I didn't really see it as a benevolent thing. You know, people saying, "Oh, I'm a Gemini."
I didn't see it. So here she's projecting. She has some weird sense that there's some sort of malevolent energy behind these systems, and some of them there may be. But it's not based on evidence. This is her personal intuition, supposedly, maybe, that she's figuring it out or whatever. So it's not really, again, it's not based on anything. She just admitted to it.
Gemini, I'm a Libra, I'm a 7, I'm a 4. Well, you're a human. You're not a number and you're not a star sign. You're a person. So why is it that, you know, there are all these characteristics that kind of seem to be common and seem to be sort of repeating themselves, right? You are able, and you know that very well because all of you are working with astrology. We are able to say things.
My heart hurt. I was like, oh my God. I remember that. I was like, I'm getting chest pains from listening to this because I'm gonna have to be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, why are you talking like that? I thought we were gonna have to do this confrontation shit. That was me. Yeah. was like, ow, my soul. My soul.
I was
hurts.
so excited. I was excited. I had so many things to ask her. But yes.
Decipher.
Fryer, I don't know. Fryer was like having a meltdown in the background, or I don't know what he was doing. He was totally silent. It's probably, I don't know what's going on.
Thinks about their childhood, thinks about whatever is their purpose, illnesses, even, right? Medical astrology, it goes very, very deep. But why? And
yeah, but why doesn't
why?
mean
And
that
maybe she should
matrix.
like learn why.
Yeah, maybe you should have
attacking it, because
exactly
really knows.
Yes. So she didn't know. She didn't look into it, and she came up with, well, it must be evil. I guess it's a matrix.
And I never saw the whole mechanism of those things being locked into some kind of algorithm as benevolent. I could see very clearly and very early that I shouldn't need to wait for a specific window to do certain things, because at that time there is a energy that supports it. But
this is somebody who doesn't understand what astrology is supposed to be for. This is someone who thinks that astrology was created for us to basically be programmed robots and do exactly what the sky tells you. That's not what it is for. And the way you can tell now, I haven't watched this in a while, but you can definitely tell she doesn't understand what it's actually supposed to be used for. I feel bad for the people who've dropped like, $500,000 on a reading from her when she clearly doesn't even love it. She doesn't love it. She doesn't believe in it. That sucks, like, for her clients.
That's, on the way, I need to wait, or perhaps this is not a good sign for this or that, because the energies are sort of against me. And there is a certain flavor to whether that's a year or whether that's a month.
So if you're watching out there, basically, so I can clarify this, astrology is like a current, okay? Sure, you can swim upstream. You can try real hard. Or you can point your toes downstream and you can ride that current. And it sounds like Ola doesn't give a shit about where the current is flowing. She's gonna, if she wants to swim upstream, she's gonna. And good, more power to her. I don't care. But she's definitely. Most people should not do that. I don't know if you've ever been in a river or a strong current, but you can die. You can get sucked under. You can get exhausted and drown. That's usually what happens to a lot of people. You can get pulled into some rapids. You can get pulled over a waterfall. There's all kinds of crazy stuff that happens inside of a current. There's turbulence. If you look at air as a fluid, there's bumps. There's all kinds of crazy stuff. Astrology is all about trying to ride those currents and take advantage of them and have them work for you. It doesn't have anything to do with like, this is your fate and you can't escape this. I mean, we can communicate it that way sometimes just to like drive home certain points, like if your mom and dad told you you have to be an attorney and like you studied your whole life to be an attorney, but deep down your spirit is telling you to, go read tarot cards on YouTube. Well, like, that's something that's probably going to be reflected in your chart. Which one do you want to do? The thing that makes you miserable just because, you feel like, you have to do it and that's what you've been putting all this work into? Or are you going to do the thing that your spirit's calling you to do? And usually astrology is going to tell you what your spirit's telling you anyways. Would you agree with that, Niki?
100%. Like, reading the True Sky and having my chart read by other very talented people, Abby, you being one of them, it's never put me more in touch with my soul than ever in my life. I've felt more in touch knowing that I have something that I can look at. I have a roadmap. I have something there that can help. And it's helped my health. Examining my chart, I've looked at transits. I can understand what she's talking about, where she must be talking about outer planets sitting on like, natal planets and now you're forced to do this or that. I mean, I'm assuming that's what she's talking about. But I don't know. Like, I've never felt more love and like amazingness come from astrology, like ever in my life. I didn't relate to tropical at all. I tested it for so long, at least my entire life. I was that 9-year-old kid reading my horoscope in the back of the TV guide. I was making my mom buy me, subscriptions to 17 magazines so I could read my horoscope and read my crushes and my friends. And, so I have been testing this, and my God, this just sounds like somebody who maybe had a few rough readings and got some bad,
I think it sounds to me like she
gave
gave some people some bad info and she had to come up with a reason for why it's not working. And instead of looking at the actual description she was giving, she created this whole, matrix concept. And I'm sure she wasn't the original. I'm sure she got it from somebody else.
I mean, I'm just assuming, I don't really know, it's just a bizarre, bizarre, concept that I've absolutely never heard before. And I kind of feel like it's just used to take advantage of people. I mean, my readings are never, if I'm wrong, I want to know. And, so I can correct it. What don't I understand? Am I not understanding the way the aspects are talking to each other? Because do I not understand like how this planet is working in that house? Do we have the right time? Am I looking at the angles?
Yeah, exactly.
There's so much that goes into a chart and builds who that person is, that you can't just look at it and be like, oh, that's just malefic. That's just all of it is. And let me save you from it. What the, I just don't, it just screams fraud to me. Just my personal opinion.
It's definitely suspicious. It's also weird that she doesn't really ever talk about, she says when she left oil and gas, but she never really talks about when, she doesn't give us a time frame. Who knows how long she's actually been doing astrology? I mean, I guess we could find out when we start to see her. You go back and look up when she starts showing up on podcasts and stuff, but I don't know. It's weird. The whole thing's fucking weird.
I was never feeling it as I'm not buying it, that's a benevolent thing, because I want to decide for myself.
Yeah, I don't feel it. I think it's
at the end of this video, I said it's crazy you come on the show when the sun and Pluto are conjunct, and she goes, "Oh, I have that," and I was like,
yep.
I fucking knew it. This problem with authority, this I am the authority, that's part of that placement. So I was like, this is just spelling itself out for what it is, isn't it? I don't even have to read it. It's all out there.
She exposed herself right at the end. Yep, she sure did.
And I don't want to be constrained by some kind of predecided circumstances. So why is it like that? And of course, as you are going deeper into these teachings and then bring in, because this is part of the awakening, right? I mean, you cannot be dealing with these things unless you are aware of the sort of higher and what
part of the awakening. Part of the awakening.
Yes.
Let me wake you up. Let me download a bunch of negative things into your mind so that nothing is ever good again.
Yeah, talk about a bullshit evil program.
Dude, the main stuff, I just had a follower come into my stuff and just talk, not her followers, but the matrix stuff.
Yeah.
And it's so negative. It's just so nothing is ever going to be good again. And I'm like, so what's the solution? They don't have one. There isn't one.
No.
I'm like, I don't need it. Because it's oh my God, I'm not trying to live in the
victim
gutter.
mentality is
and I'm a victim for the rest of my existence on this planet.
It's very detrimental. Yes,
it's not really true alchemy either. That's not it. Sorry.
Right.
It's just not it.
I'm with you.
Wider context, which is we are caught.
Oh. Every time one of our guests comes on and starts just spewing nonsense, I switch the ticker and to say like the views expressed by our guests. I don't know when I was going to pay attention to see like when did the bullshit meter go off and I had to put this on.
I mean, what are the Sumerian texts talking about? What is every mythology talking about? What is really smuggled, as I say, in fairy tales? Because there's been a censorship. This is not the first time we have censorship, right? So what is the true story? What is the Bible really talking about? Is that a religious text? No, it's not. It is a story. It's an account of
it's still a religious text. I don't know where she got that. It's definitely a religious text.
And when you know how to start deciphering that, and you start seeing consistently across the board, regardless of geography, the same story emerging, a story where once upon a time something happened here and it has to do with control over this realm, then everything comes together.
She makes it sound like every single culture has like stories of control, and they definitely don't. There are certain stories, like the flood myth is probably not a myth. I mean, the specifics are mythological in nature, you know, like the Noah figure is definitely probably not a real guy, you know. But no, there are far more myths that don't all say the same thing. There are a handful of few, and I wonder if those are the ones she's talking about, but she makes it sound like it's just easy to identify, and she, found this magical secret that we're all in the matrix.
And then you see how astrology, numerology are.
Niki, what were you doing? Were you twerking?
No, oh my God, what was it?
Just languages is just a way to interpret.
I can't remember what fell. My cat knocked all my shit over because he wanted to be by me. I remember that.
He knew you were struggling. He knew you were.
I was, because I was, oh my God, I was like, my fucking chest hurts. This is scary. And I was like, I can't hear this stuff. And she believes it, which, I could be wrong, you guys. It could be real. It could be true, and I just got my rose-colored glasses on, like literally.
So, yeah, but millions, if not billions, of people have the same rose-colored glasses on.
Well, I mean, I'm a spiritual person. I've had a lot of mediumship things happen to me. I'm a bit of a psychic. I've never had spirits come to me shaking the shit out of me going, oh my God, we're fucking trapped here. Come get us.
Right.
Help. Like, don't go into the fucking moon.
I brought that up to her later. Like, I've done medium work my entire life. I've worked with other mediums.
But you know what? Like, according to her, that might just have been the Matrix talking to me. And it wasn't really real. Well,
why is she, if you're the only one getting these secrets, and she's not getting them from a spirit, she's getting them from her own logical assessment of the mythology, apparently. So why are we all wrong and she's the only one with the right answer? She got the Messiah.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
But interpret something that's pretty malevolent, pretty evil, a way to capture human, a way to control human, a way to siphon energy from humans. I mean, that's just connecting the dots.
No, it's not connecting the dots. There's nothing in Eastern, there might be some little niche, area, but generally speaking, there's no soul sucking and siphoning and energy siphoning that's going on in any major culture or religion around the world. So I don't know, that's not connecting any dots. Ola, sorry.
Once you kind of see that full picture, then it's you cannot unsee it.
I have never picked up any of the malevolence that you're referring to. I don't discount any of your experience or anything. As far as that goes, I understand. So the big push towards, like, the original, as far back as I can go, the original push towards this idea that the gods in particular, like the Mesopotamian or Sumerian gods, are agents of control or creating, like, are orchestrating some sort of control mechanism, really evolved from Zecharia Sitchin. Most people say Zechariah Sitchin, but it's more Zecharia Sitchin. His knowledge of the Sumerian text was exceptionally poor. He really picks and he cherry picks from all over, like Jewish mythology, like everything. I mean, he's got his hand in everything. His knowledge of the Sumerian language was really pretty poor. Now, I definitely know for a fact that the scholarly interpretations are manipulated, but they're manipulated more so to strip away the spiritual aspects that are inherent in the elder myths and texts. Which is what she's doing. She's taking all the spirituality out of the ancient myths and even like folklore traditions and turning it into this ones and zeros, nuts and bolts reality, which is gross. I'm not on board with that. That's offensive to me. I bring it on. Like, I'm happy to have you offend me with your ideas, but I just, like, personally, I think that that's offensive. I don't think she cares though. Now, that's just, as far as I have seen, I think I have an explanation as far as astrology goes. Not that I'm trying to dissuade you from, your observations or anything like that. But in my experience, astrology, so when you have somebody whose life is phenomenal. Okay. They're listening to their intuition. They're doing everything right. They're making good decisions. They're tuned into themselves. They've done their deeper inner work. What you find when you look at that individual is that it lines up almost identically with what's going on with the sky and the transits. It's not so much that the sky is affecting someone. These are just natural energies. So going back to what you said, no, you shouldn't have to wait for a certain time to do anything that you don't want to. But at the same time, do we want to go out on a picnic when it's pouring rain, or like today here, it's like minus 15?
Ew, oh my God, yes.
So it's more, and that's all it is. That's all it is. Doesn't have to be more than that.
Some people approach astrology and it's like life or death. These big events are happening. Like this big, like, it's not. The energy is always moving. It's always going. It's like a clock that's always spinning. It doesn't just stop and explosions happen everywhere. And okay. Yeah. Sorry. I love that. I love the way you described that. It was beautiful. It was perfect.
I think Niki would probably agree, and not every astrologer, because we're definitely in a small minority of what we use astrology for and our take on it. I would imagine Friar's probably on board with that too. But we're looking at it more as like, these are just the natural currents that are flowing very much. I watched some of your interviews. You were talking about the aurora and how like tuning into that, and we're a part of the earth and we're a part of the sun. It's very similar. And again, I think I speak a little bit for Niki along the same lines, like the planets, the energies of the constellations, the solar system, we're a part of these, and these are just macrocosmic aspects of ourselves. So when you work and move and act in time with these things, whether you're conscious of it or not, if you listen to your intuition, it almost always just lines up perfectly with what's going on in your natal chart, what's going on with the transits. When you look at somebody who's like at war with themselves constantly, their relationship sucks, they hate their job, they're falling apart. If you look at the sky, or you look at their natal chart, you'll notice that they're doing things that are in direct conflict with what the chart says. Now, I'm of the opinion that the astrology is there as a tool to serve us. It's not there to control us. It has really no clear, I don't know that it's capable of controlling anybody. It's just like a natural fluid current that you're riding with. And if you want to work with it, you can. If you don't want to, I've thousands of charts and clients at this point, like people like legit struggle. And if they tweak those things that are available in their chart, they just don't have those same issues anymore. So I don't see it as it's a new concept to me, to be quite honest, but don't be offended. I don't get out much, you guys. I had the day off today. What did I do? I like dissected another Sumerian text. So like, I'm a super dork and I don't know anything that's going on outside of like my immediate space. So that's kind of my take on it. Niki, Friar's so quiet and just like, sure.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't remember.
He was very, he doesn't like confrontation. So he was
not at all.
Out of his skin, I'm sure. Would you agree to that?
I totally agree with that. I don't use it in the tropical sense at all. Okay. So I totally am on, like, it's so funny because I too am like, fuck the system. All right. I have been born that way. I don't follow the fucking rules, and I don't like when people tell me what to do.
Okay, Niki. So where's your Pluto thing?
Oh, it's at the very end.
No, but I mean, so you said
Pluto?
like she's got a Pluto issue, and then what's your Pluto issue?
Oh, I've got a huge Pluto. I've got Saturn and Pluto conjunct.
Okay, where at?
And it's in direct opposition with my Mercury and Mars.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Yeah, okay, I gotcha. I think my Pluto's conjunct my ascendant. It's pretty close.
Yours is close. It's not like right exactly on it, but it's close enough to touch it. But I don't know. It definitely, like, I don't know. It gives you a cool vibe though. I've met people who have like it right on there, and sometimes they're like, oh my God.
I like my Pluto position.
Yeah. You got some friendly planets around it though to help that power out though. You got good ones.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah, you do. Totally. Oh my God. No, mine is just I'm an animal. I am, like, I don't like holding back. Guys, I like to swear, okay? I like, sometimes my mind is in the gutter all day.
Yeah, mine's in the gutter a lot too.
Sorry.
The gutter is also part of the divine experience.
Yeah, I mean, come on, I'm everywhere. So all right.
I have lived my life
Huh?
First time I've ever watched myself on a video. I hear myself and I never watch it. I never watch these.
You get used to it if you keep watching them. I had to, because I had to edit my videos before and like, post them. So I just got used to hearing it all the time. But you tune it out and it's not uncomfortable anymore.
I know, I'm kind of like, oh my God, I sound like that. No wonder people were commenting that shit.
No, you made perfect sense. No, don't let them get to you.
Oh, trust me.
I am not going to follow this pattern. I am not going to do this or that. And and that's what led me to my path to astrology, was that utter rebellion of, I'm in charge of my life. I get to do what I want. I have free will. And I'm going to not fucking do what I know I'm here to do. And I'm going to follow this path instead. And I was just literally fucking squished and redirected. So and looking at the transits and looking at the energies before I even knew what the hell astrology was really doing, and seeing it for myself and experiencing it, I just, I don't know. Like, I'm totally with you. Like, I don't want to fucking do, I don't want to do what I'm here to do.
You know what? I bet if we looked at her chart, she's doing exactly what, she's already
supposed to be doing.
Yeah, like she doesn't realize that she is doing what her chart says, but she's probably not reading her chart right. I mean, she clearly doesn't understand astrology, which sucks again for her clients.
I wish I would have explained it a lot better, but yeah, I was doing what I wanted, and I had spirit always like nagging at me, like, hey, it's time. Hey, you got to do that. I'm like, yeah, I'm busy. Like, I got shit to do. Like, I want to do what I want to do, and and it's not like I couldn't see all that energy. I didn't want to work with it. And it's not like that energy forces you to do anything, okay? It's just there to work with. Yeah. Like you said, when you're swimming against the current, you can get sucked under, and it can really fuck you up.
It ruins people die. It can kill you. You can burn yourself right out, and you're not here no more, or anymore.
I want to have fun. I want to do whatever I want to do. Like, if it were up to me, I'd be doing like celebrity hair and makeup right now. I'd be flying around. I'd be, I wouldn't have a family. I wouldn't have shit like that. I'd be chasing that dollar. It just wasn't in the cards. And it was a really tough, like, hard, wicked lesson to learn. Like, when you try to swim against the current, like, you drowned. So.
And would you say that your natal chart and understanding like the transits and stuff, how they actually affect you, not just like what pop culture bullshit astrology says? Like, do you think that helped you in that process?
Oh, absolutely. And it didn't start out that way. Like, tropical astrology, I knew was fake. I'd spent 15 plus years interviewing people behind the chair as a hairstylist, talking to everybody. I knew it wasn't right. It was like, something's not right. If I'm interviewing all of these people and I'm asking them all these, I know their birthdays, I know their family, something's off. And of course, that's, when it hit me when I was like sick and smashed into a million little pieces, to Google it. I ended up finding like a whole bunch of different stuff. It was awesome. But yeah, that was my journey and the beginning of, the real sky astrology journey for me, because that's what was really speaking to me. That's what was really happening. I'm looking at the real sky where the transits are really happening in real constellations. I can see it. I can feel it. Now I know. Now
she does not want to sit and listen to you. You can tell.
No, she doesn't like me.
It's my
she doesn't like. It's not just to her followers.
It's not just that. I think she's used to having the whole time to just do her spiel, and she wasn't prepared for a conversation.
Now I know. For me, it was more like an epiphany, an awakening, and a lot of my clients have told me that too. Like, oh my God, thank you for showing me like what my emotional patterns look like, what I'm doing, and just showing them like, hey, this is the path of least resistance. And how they choose to take on that path is their free will. They can choose to do whatever they want with it, but they're always going to be redirected back. And I noticed that. Personally, I'm a super like spiritual, weird, mediumistic person. And I was totally on board with that. Like, I've been forced to be here. I would have never have, trust me, if you've been on any of our calls, like our Sunday calls, I will bitch about God all fucking day long. I'll be like, God did this to me. Oh yeah, that's right. I did. I chose this. Having
so true. I'm like,
tug of war.
Like, knock it off. And then I'm like, wait, I signed up for this shit.
Yes.
I have a different view now.
I want to understand.
On what?
I have a different view on God and everything now, but it's always changing. It's always evolving. So,
yes.
Yeah.
it all too. And why is my experience different from other people's experiences? And so yeah, I'm just rambling now, but I mean,
you weren't rambling at all. Everything you said made perfect sense, but that's what they picked up. You know, a half an hour in, they were like, yep, Niki, ramble, you're just talking too much. They just repeated the insult that you gave yourself.
Yeah, they said so many mean things. I went back.
You made perfect sense.
I laugh at them.
Yes, it was all, you were
The
just
smartest, greatest people are on the internet. I remember.
And it's been it's been a journey for me that has done the absolute opposite. It's just shown me how real and raw and incredible the real sky astrology is. So like, yeah, if you're talking about tropical and somebody's been feeding you like that tropical bullshit, if you saw my tropical chart, you would be like, you're not that person. It's just insane. And it's not really about telling somebody who they are. A lot of people do need a little guidance, like they're lost, they get caught in all the different themes and different stories, like, oh, my mom feels like this about me and I must be like this, or my partner doesn't like me, so I must be like this. You know, like there's women who get cheated on all the time. You're like, am I fucking side chick energy? What the fuck? You know, like there's a counseling part of astrology, not like I control you, I'm from the gods and I'm here to make your life fucking hell. Like I don't know. I mean, I've experienced it on both extremes. So so it's hard to say, you know, how it would be for each individual person. But for me, I mean, astrology has become almost my religion. So
Friar, where are you on that spectrum? I know your concept of astrology is not similar. I mean, there's some overlap with me and Niki, but you have a different take on it.
He does, yeah.
I'd love to hear it.
I'm almost certainly on the spectrum. See, no, it's a joke. Sorry.
I know. We put you on the spot. We're like, now you tell us.
I have things to say. Well, first of all, I guess just in general, if you were to look at just the meta model under which I operate, I'm almost in complete agreement with what Ola said. Because
that explains a lot, actually. Yes.
Control thing.
The milieu.
Yes. Well, and we've talked about this before on the show about Friar doesn't get out, and I'm speaking for him, and I apologize because he's not here to speak for himself, but basically he doesn't, he's not comfortable with the idea that the planets in their positions in the constellations could potentially dictate things about you or your future. And that's, I think, where it goes. Like he's more agnostic as far as it is concerned, if I'm translating correctly.
That I operate in are, generally speaking, like the Golden Dawn influences.
Yes, he's going to talk about Golden Dawn for a second. Let's go back. Control. Whereas, go back.
Really, it's you. You're basically learning yourself, and you are making corrections.
Yeah.
Like
so you are the Matrix. No, I think those probably. Excuse me. I think. Well, Matrix, I think, implies like control, whereas Maya, right. I think, it's just there. But I can see where those two things would be
similar. Yeah, they have some overlap. And so again, you know, part of the I call the Golden Dawn soft Gnosticism because they're not really hammering it in your face with all the like supreme, like all the systems and terminology of Sethian or Valentinian. I don't know whether they're Sethian or Valentinian actually. Meaning, are these energies literally out to get you, or are they just deluded and think they're, you know, the true gods, whereas the actual true God is the one, the Most High, the Scorpio. These are influences, and they behave like gods, but they are not the real truth.
Yeah, that was a metaphysical. Okay, so that's where we come back to. We do full circle with Ola, where it's not the truth. It's the Matrix system. Okay.
Well, I actually, if I may, I would like to go back to Niki and ask you a question, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, if I understood you correctly.
Oh, she's reading her notes. She was taking notes. She's reading them now.
You said that if you could do what your passion is, what you want, or at some point that's what you were kind of looking at.
Yeah, I physically can. Yeah, trust me, girlfriend. I tried. I physically could not.
That's where my question is coming from. You know, if these are your passions, if these are the things that you want to do, but you actually use the term that doing that you would be going against the current, and you were kind of pushed into doing something else. Where is the free will in that? And why are you not able to do what your passions and what your love is? How?
I don't
And
think
actually, I fucking hated doing hair. I hated it so much, and it was all an ego trip. You know, if I felt good, people needed me, people wanted me. It was just I learned a lot from that. Like, and the thought, and I think about doing hair now, and I see people with long hair, it makes my shoulders hurt. I just get like, oh, I gotta lift my arms up, and I gotta do this motion for like 8, 9, 10 hours. Oh, I think about that, and I'm like, if I was still doing that, I would have drank myself to death. Yeah. Ugh. It was awful.
Well, where's the free will, Niki?
Where's the free will in that? You're right. You're right. I should have just killed myself doing what I thought I wanted to do the rest of my life.
Yes.
Yeah,
what we do.
I know. Exactly. I've asked myself those questions all the time.
Yeah, but you see, this is precisely the premise of what I've been advocating for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because
just give me $550 and I'll tell you that in private.
Yes. So her whole thing is, Niki, you should have chased the money in the ego trips and run your body into the ground and told your chart to suck it.
That career turned me into a raging alcoholic. And I nearly destroyed myself. So yeah, I'm glad.
It sounds like the Matrix is hooking you up. So yeah, helping you out.
So much happier now. Like my heart is really aligned.
She was not prepared for that.
No.
Where I need to be and what I need to do. And when I look back, what I was doing was killing me. It was physically killing me, mentally killing me. I couldn't give any more to anybody at all. Like my physical health declined so bad that I couldn't walk. I was walking with a cane. I couldn't grab things. I couldn't shop. I couldn't get off the couch. And I was like that for almost 6 months. I had shoulders issues. I've had big shots in my shoulders. I've seen rheumatologists, every doctor you can imagine that had no idea what was wrong with me, just fibromyalgia. You know, that's what they just say when, you know, they don't know what it is that's wrong with you. And I had to.
I was full of hate.
I
was full of hate and sadness. That's probably
your body was breaking down. Your body, your mind, your heart.
Yeah.
It was all in opposition.
I wasn't in alignment. I'll tell you
that.
that.
Swimming upstream hard, super hard.
Deep inner work. Like, am I storing rage and anger inside my body? Oh yeah. I mean, just because at that time that's what I really wanted, and I thought that that's what I could really get. The entire time it was just an illusion. It was a delusional like thing that wasn't really real. And it wasn't until after it was all done and over with, I look back and I'm like, oh, I mean, I get it now, but it's only because I'm like totally aligned with where I'm going and what I'm doing. And like,
celebrity hair, I would have such a bad cocaine problem. I'm telling you. I was flying around doing celebrity hair and just all that. Like the problems would have persisted. It wouldn't have just been alcohol and all that. Oh, I probably wouldn't even be alive right now. I wouldn't even be here. Chasing the clout dream. Come on, we all do that.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
At some point, for sure.
At some point. I'm glad I got it out of my system though.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like so much freer and happier. And I think about all the times that I was doing hair and all this, you know, all the bitches I had to work with.
Oh my God. They were horrible. They were mean and nobody ever like, they were fake. And like, you know how we were talking about how we're just truthful people? Like, it sucks being around people that aren't like that.
Yep.
Oh, you look so good today. The way you said it. Like, I mean, my God, I could write a book. You ask any hairstylist.
You should write a book.
Oh, you know, I escaped. That's how I feel. I escaped, and I feel like I left a really abusive relationship with hair in that industry, the vanity industry, guys. It'll suck you in. It'll rip you apart. It'll tell you you're not pretty enough. You know, try this, do that. There's always ways to improve. You're never just good as you are. Yeah, there's a reason why that industry just keeps barreling along, and it works so well and makes so much money.
Oh yeah, for sure. They feed on all the insecurities.
Oh, sorry. It was the first time I was hearing my story.
Yeah, reliving it now, feeling it again.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, reliving it.
Yeah.
Horrible women that just hated me. They just hated me. They hated my success. They hated the way I looked. They hated the way I talked. They hated how happy I was.
How fucking happy I was too. I couldn't come to work and be fucking happy. They'd make fun of me behind my back. Linda, this bitch named Linda, she'd be like, like I could hear you like making fun of me being happy and smiling. Like when you're around people that just hate happiness,
that's a bad
and it doesn't matter what salon you go to. I know. I was like, it's got to be me.
And your chart probably, if I recall, and I don't right now, I can't even remember where my stuff in my own chart is for the most part. I really got to think hard about it. But your chart probably tells you very specifically the type of environment you can be spending your time in, or you should be, and like what type of physical and energetic tolerances you have, which will tell you exactly like that type of environment is the absolute wrong one to be in, and you need to run far away. Now, if that's a product of the Matrix, then it sounds like the Matrix isn't so malevolent. If the Matrix is telling you like, Niki, you can't handle all these negative bitches, you got to get out of there, it seems like the Matrix is doing you a favor. It doesn't sound like it's trying to suck the energy out of you. It's doing the exact opposite of what she's claiming that it does. But again, that makes me think that she doesn't know how to use astrology. I have no idea how long she's been doing astrology. I didn't even I don't know because I don't get out, obviously.
I don't know either. I tried to research her after the show.
It's hard. It's real hard. There's not a lot, and
no, she doesn't put her name on a lot of stuff. She likes to keep it secret. So
yeah, which is weird. That's kind of sketchy on its own, and that goes back to what we were talking about. Like, so the me that you guys see today is going to be the me that you see 20 years from now. Like, I just am this person, and it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Some people are they're like trying to put up a front, like this pretend version of them. I don't know if they're doing the fake it till you make it situation, and they're trying to like become somebody on the outside, which is fine. We all need to evolve and whatnot. But like somebody like that, she's got a lot of ideas. Maybe instead of spending 2 hours to go on whoever's podcast and give her stuff, maybe she should like write something out in document form. So like a lot of people do read, she doesn't have any articles. She just has these interviews where she doesn't really say exactly what's going on. You just have to watch all of her interviews and like piece the information together. It's not great. It's not a great system.
I don't know. It's just really wonky and really weird to me. Like you shouldn't have to explain. Like it shouldn't take you like this long to explain what it is you do. Oh, you're just too stupid to get it. No,
yeah, that's what it comes down to.
It just sounds really negative to me, and it just kind of sounds scammy and I don't know. It just sounds like something I can't trust. I mean, especially dealing, with my own experiences. Definitely not going to tell somebody they're trapped and the only way out is through me. You have to talk to me. That's fucking weird.
Yeah. It's culty. It's creepy.
Very culty. It's very it's like saying you're the deity, I'm not into that.
Right.
Whatever. Oh, it takes all kinds though. She's probably here to teach a lot of people a lot of lessons, and that's what we have.
Hopefully
that's what we have to work with.
Hopefully she's actually helping someone out there and they find it useful.
Yeah, I really hope so. I hope it's
she entertained me for many hours of my life so far. I've had a lot of entertainment. It's good though to have people like that to talk to. I mean, it's good to have different ideas. And like I said when we were on that call, I actually really enjoyed the whole conversation. I'd love to just keep talking to her, but she'll never come back. And I
thought we were friends. I was so excited. I followed some of her accounts. I think I've blocked her. I don't know, because I can't find them anymore. And I was like, oh wow, never mind. But I don't know. Yeah, like her followers are really mean.
Yeah, a lot of them were, for
So
sure.
I'm not interested anymore.
Yes. One of these days we're gonna have to debunk some go to Archaix's channel and talk about some of that goofy stuff.
Yeah, some of that stuff is wild. Absolutely wild. I tried to watch some of it and I'm like, I don't fucking know. This seems
Well,
like
that's
mind
another
pollution.
that's another one that gets recommended to me all the time. And I'm like, what's going on, you guys? What's the disconnect? And I just don't think they know what they're getting themselves into, but we'll have to take a look at that too. Well, I gotta go. I got a client I gotta talk to. So thanks for everybody for Eja Levy and Mermaids Wear Hats and everybody else. We wish you lots of love and joy and success, and just have a great solstice. Or nope, I did it. I said summer solstice. Have a great equinox. Almost okay. I must be really excited for summer. Have a great equinox, and happy Babylonian New Year. And we'll be back next week. We'll be back. So we'll see you then.
Bye.